Hello, my name is Martin Jones and this video is coming to you from holographicbreathing.com, and in this video I teach holographic breathing, but I teach it from a cranial standpoint. So this video is very good for people who want to learn holographic breathing, but it is also good for people who want to take holographic breathing further. And from there we go on to look at it in more depth cranially, and also the more holographic side of holographic breathing. This is the first tutorial in a whole series where we will look into the whole cranial side and the whole holographic side of holographic breathing. There will be about a 12-minute introduction, and from there we go on to the actual learning of holographic breathing. And there is also a second part to this video which is available from a link below. So holographic breathing is a breathing system that just started for me. I'd trying to do my own orthodontics once by breathing into the maxilla, because I needed to open the maxilla and to bring it forwards. And I was going to have to have 5 years of orthodontics, something like that, and be very intrusive. So I thought, well, where there's a will, there's a way. So I was breathing a lot into the maxilla as if it was a pair of lungs opening and closing with the breath. And as I did, it produced a very strong energy and would release back into the brain. And you feel the brain releasing and unwinding, which was very useful because it was also at the time that I found out I had Lyme's disease, and Lyme's disease attacks the brain and the central nervous system. And this really deep tiredness that I'd gone into started to release. So I carried on breathing with the maxilla and it was working very well. And this strong energy was working through the brain. And one day I was just sitting in meditation, this energy was building, so I thought I'll just do it softer, and it built more, and I'll do it softer. And the softer I did it, the more the energy built, and then it just released in one go. It was like a really bright flash, and all of this energy that had been building in the brain and head released down through the face, through the teeth, and into the jaw. And as it did that, I started doing what I call holographic breathing. It opened a cellular memory in the mouth, and the tongue came onto the roof of the mouth, my lips were closed, and on the in-breath the jaw gently opened, and on the out-breath the jaw gently closed. And it set off this dynamic through the whole face, and I no longer needed to breathe with the maxilla anymore, because this gentle motion of the jaw and mouth. Hiya, come in. This is Lisa. They've saved you a special cushion.
Thank you very much. So sorry I'm late.
I told him you was a sitting down cross-legged type person. So it that opened the movement in the mouth and jaws also worked through the maxilla. So I didn't have to try to do anything, and the movement in the jaw was a memory. It was like it was an intrinsic part of me, and just gently worked with the breath, and that opened through the maxilla, which was a higher energy, which was much more to do with the breath. The jaw was more physical, it was more the bones, the muscles, and as it came up into the maxilla, it was a higher energy, much more to do with the fluids. It was the heart, the lungs, the blood, the lymph, and in the brain it was the cranial fluid. And then it rose up into the eyes, and this much more a higher level again, which connected to the brain and the central nervous system. So there was this matrix through the face that related to the whole body, and reflects in many different ways through the body. So that's why I called it holographic breathing, because when in a hologram you have a sheet of glass that the light is shone through, and if you break that plate, if the plate's got a picture of a lady on that becomes a hologram, if you break that plate in two and shine the light through it, you will still get a whole picture of a lady. You won't get half a picture. And if you break it again, and however small you break the plate, you still get a whole image. Maybe a bit dimmer or something, but it's the same thing. And the holographic breathing seemed to open up that reality in my body, that it was this matrix over and over, from the lower energies up to the higher energies, and every organ had its own kind of pyramid or spectrum of energies. And you could orchestrate that from the face to different bits, or it reflected back from the body into the face. Once it was going, the breathing would happen in the body. It would spread from the mouth. It just spreads through the whole body. So it's a bit like you feel every cell opening and closing through the whole body. And it gives you the ability to journey in your body, that you can go inside and you can feel different areas of your body breathing, and you can feel the qualities of the energy there, and you can work with it, that you feel the more energies of the hara or of the bones in that area, or the structures of the cell, or you can work with it so you feel the fluids in that area, or you feel the neural tissue and the nerves in that area, or the connection to the higher self, or the connection to the earth. So it gives you the ability to heal yourself. And it was very handy for me, because I needed something like that to survive the Lyme's disease, which I was ready to die at that stage. It got to that stage where I had pretty well chronic bronchitis, and I'd go in and out of pneumonia, and it really wouldn't have taken much to take me out at that stage. So it came at a very opportune moment. And lots of other things helped me with the Lyme disease. I still had fatigue and things like that, but I'm not dead, and the Lyme disease does not show up anymore in the tests or anything. That has gone, and it was holographic breathing and also homeopathy that really helped with that. So you can use it as a holistic self-healing system. And because we've got all the lovely cranial people here, I'm going to relate it to cranial sacral therapy or cranial osteopathy, because it reflects many different things, but one of the things it does reflect in many ways is how cranial osteopaths or how cranial sacral therapists work. So I'm also going to teach I'll just demonstrate it so you can see that it's a very subtle motion of the jaw, and it's very basic. There's three things: the lips are closed all of the time, the tongue is on the roof of the mouth all of the time. On the in-breath, the jaw is gently opening, and on the out-breath, it's gently closing. And it's a small motion, 2 or 3 millimeters, half a finger width. It's a very small motion. So I'll just demonstrate it so you can see. And it will take, once you've got it, once it activates, there's learning it as a exercise, but there's a certain initiation where it just starts, and then after that point it's just deeply relaxing, as if you don't have to do it anymore. So I'll just demonstrate a bit so you can get an idea of it. You may not even see the movement of the jaw. So you may have seen a bit of movement there or not, but it's very subtle and takes people into quite a deep transcendental space very quickly. And I'm going to teach it in a new way because there's a few things that come up quite often when I teach it. So, and one is people get to the point of doing it and they find it hard to keep the lips together, or they find it hard to keep the tongue on the roof of the mouth. So I'm going to teach it in a way that's slightly related to a baby suckling. The movement in holographic breathing is like a very, very subtle form of how a baby would suckle. So going to bring that parameter in the teaching. It hopefully will make it easy. So before we go into the learning of that, it'd be nice to bring some resources in. It'd be nice to connect to the earth and to the higher self. So let's do that. So closing your eyes and just breathing in an easy and natural way through your nose, and send a smile to the earth, send some energy to the earth, and allow the earth to say hello back. Allow yourself to receive from the earth. Notice what that feels like through your whole body and through your energies. And then sending the smile, sending some energy to the higher self. To allow the higher self to say hello back. Allow yourself to receive from the higher self. And notice what that feels like through your whole body and through your energies. And then asking the earth and the higher self to be with you through this whole tutorial as a guide, as a resource, and as a help. Okay, when you feel ready, you can gently allow yourself to come back. Okay, good. So we're going to go through a sequence of exercises that hopefully are just going to naturally go into holographic breathing. And the first one is to find that you can keep your lips closed and move the jaw. So if you have your eyes closed, you just have your lips closed and just start moving your jaw about. And it can be quite large motions. And notice you've got the ability to move the jaw and to keep the lips closed. You have that ability. So can make quite big motions, and the lips can easily stay closed. Okay, so you can let that come to an end. The position of the tongue, it's the upper surface of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and as much as feels comfortable. the tip of the tongue is close to or touching the front teeth. So it's forwards in the mouth, it's the upper surface of the tongue, and as much as the tongue on the roof of the mouth as feels comfortable. Gently breathing through your nose, just becoming used to having the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Now we're just going to try something out now. So with the tongue on the roof of the mouth, notice you can make a seal, like a little suction between the tongue and the roof of the mouth. And if you pull down a little bit on your tongue, it can stay connected to the roof of the mouth. Babies, again, will use this in suckling, that you can make this little seal. So don't pull hard, you don't have to do anything hard, but notice you can make a soft seal to the roof of the mouth. Okay. Now if you open your lips slightly so that air can come in through your lips, notice now when you pull on your tongue, the tongue probably will come off the roof of the mouth. The seal goes. And then if you close the lips, put the tongue on the roof of the mouth, notice you get a gentle seal to the roof of the mouth.
So it's the whole surface of the tongue?
Pardon?
You're making a seal with the whole surface of the tongue? Or just
as much as feels comfortable. Now what happens in holographic breathing is over a period of time the tongue will get softer and will detoxify and feel a bit larger in a way, and at a certain point the whole tongue will just cover the whole roof of the mouth, and it connects up all of the energy points between. But to start off with, what's more important than lots of the tongue being on the roof of the mouth is that it's relaxed, that it's on the roof of the mouth and relaxed. But there needs to be enough on the roof of the mouth to make a light seal there. So closing your eyes. Now we're going to, so the lips are closed, and with the tongue on the roof of the mouth, it also becomes possible to make a light seal with the lips. So the lips are sealed. Again, babies will use this in suckling. They will seal the lips around the breast, and they will seal the nipple to the roof of the mouth with the tongue. So with the lips a very light seal and the tongue a very light seal to the roof of the mouth. If you open the jaw about ½ an inch, notice you can keep the tongue on the roof of the mouth. The light seal stays. And then if you close the jaw, the tongue stays there. But also notice there's a difference now. When you open the jaw, it's the lips. The lips also stay closed through a seal. The seal keeps them closed. And then closing the jaw. So the tongue can stay relaxed and sealed to the roof of the mouth. The lips can stay sealed through this little suction thing that happens. So now we're going to align that with the breath. As you open the jaw, breathing in through the nose. As you close the jaw, breathing out through the nose. As you open the jaw, breathing in through the nose. As you open the jaw, breathing in through the nose. As you close the jaw, breathing out through the nose. And then making the movement smaller, just a few millimeters, ½ a finger width, a tiny motion of the jaw. And change the emphasis. As you breathe in, relax the jaw open. So the emphasis comes to the breath rather than the jaw. As you breathe out, gently closing the jaw. So already instantly this energy is now coming down into the room. Breathing in, relaxing the jaw open. Breathing out, relaxing the jaw closed. The tongue can stay relaxed, so carry on with that breathing. The tongue can stay relaxed because it's got a gentle seal to the roof of the mouth. The lips can stay relaxed because there's a gentle seal in the lips. Breathing in, relaxing the jaw open 2 or 3 millimeters. Breathing out, relaxing the jaw closed 2 or 3 millimeters. Relax the back of the neck. Relax the back of the head. Relax the whole body. And notice the way as you move into this type of breathing, it feels like a memory that it's not like you're learning something. Suddenly it becomes like a memory that you've always known how to breathe in this way. It's part of your makeup. The tongue stays relaxed and on the roof of the mouth. The lips stay relaxed and closed. As you breathe in, relaxing the jaw open. As you breathe out, relaxing the jaw closed. Relax the whole body. Relax the back of the neck. Relax the back of the head. Relax everything. On the in-breath, the teeth are separating. They're coming apart 2 or 3 millimeters. On the out-breath, as the teeth are coming together, just very lightly touching, like they're hovering together. No pressure. Or you can have it so the teeth don't touch at all. So the jaw is free all of the time. Breathing in, very soft, subtle motion of the jaw, opening on the in-breath, closing on the out-breath. Relax the neck, relax the back of the head. And notice how suddenly the breath feels more nutritious. So you get a subtle motion of the breath starts moving through your whole body. And that also, it's as if in a very subtle way the whole face has started to breathe, opening on the in-breath, closing on the out-breath, and that the whole cranium has started to breathe very subtly, opening out to the sides as you breathe in, closing immediately back towards the center as you breathe out. And the back of the head, opening with the jaw, closing with the jaw. And through your whole body. There's the breath, but also there's this as if every cell is starting to be able to feel every cell opening as you breathe in, every cell closing as you breathe out. And there's an energy and a relaxation. The energy, because it's a mirror of us, is very familiar, so you may hardly feel it because it is your own energy and your own connection to the earth and the higher self. A very particular energy and nourishment starts moving through your whole body. And being aware of the breath in the chest, in the lungs, in the sinuses as you breathe in, moving the awareness to the sinuses, the nasal passageways and lungs. As you breathe in, they open, and the jaw opens with them. As you breathe out, the lungs, the chest, the sinuses, the nasal passageways closing, and the lung and the jaw moves with them. So we start with the jaw. The motion starts from the jaw, but then once the body is breathing in this way, it reflects from the body back to the jaw. So you can have the emphasis in the body and the jaw will move along. The chest, the middle of the body, relates a lot to the middle of the face. And then if you drop down into the abdomen, your breath into the abdomen, as you breathe in, the jaw gently opens. As the abdomen closes, the jaw gently closes. Notice as you bring the awareness down to the abdomen, the awareness drops from the sinuses down into the mouth. Bottom of the face relates to the bottom of the torso. The jaw relates to the pelvis. The whole torso opening, the jaw and sinuses opening. The whole torso closing, the jaw, sinuses closing. And also you may feel the awareness going up to the eyes. Maybe a flickering bright light in your eyes, and this more relates to the upper body, the head, the brain, the central nervous system. As the whole face breathes, the whole body breathes, all the different circuits. The tongue stays gently sealed to the roof of the mouth. The lips stay gently sealed on their own. They don't have to do anything. The whole face, the whole body, the head, the back of the head, the spine, everything starts to breathe. Everything starts to heal. Be aware of the back of the body. Notice you can sit back and view from a little further back and be aware of the whole back of the head, the spine, the nervous system. Relax the back of the head, relax the back of the neck. And gently being aware of the jaw, the tongue, letting the energies settle on ground. And gently allowing yourself to come back. And when you feel ready, allowing your eyes to open. So it is very similar to suckling, and babies make this motion of the jaw. And in the womb, I think this is how babies breathe. If you think about towards the end part of the pregnancy, the baby's pretty full in the womb and it's upside down. So we go into this in much more detail, we explain this and do kind of work with it to get the experience of it. So when we breathe with air, our lungs fill up because it's open to the outside, so it can expand in all directions. But the rest of the body, that isn't so. The rest of the body is in sealed containments. That doesn't mean they don't breathe. Right down to every cell, they breathe. Or they move with the breath and they absorb oxygen and they let out carbon dioxide. But the way that I experience most of them breathing is that and with the cranial rhythm and everything that you've worked with, but this is with the normal breath, there's an expansion out to the sides but because it's sealed from top to bottom, there's a contraction downwards, and normally because it's powered by the muscles, the up-down motion, it's the muscles pulling, but we don't feel that. I'll talk about this I think what I'll do is I'll just go on to the next part. We'll come to this in a few minutes. Okay. Was everybody was okay? Right, we'll go on to this now. Okay. So when we normally breathe, when we're breathing in, there's a contraction of the muscles. But we don't feel so much that contraction of muscles because it would be adverse to the experience of opening. So you don't want to feel a contraction when you actually want to experience an expansion. But for that expansion to happen, the muscles contract. The ribs, to start off with, they're lower. When you breathe out, they're lower. And as you breathe in, the muscles contract and the ribs rise. So you end up with a bigger space inside the ribs. Also, when you breathe in, the muscles of the diaphragm contract and it pulls down. So you get an opening out to the sides and you get a dropping down, and it feels the whole chest. And that is held by the muscles of the chest, the muscles of the neck and the throat. Because if these muscles shorten and it wasn't held by here, it would just concertina down. But because it's held from the spine, from the jaw, from the cranium, that holds it, and the ribs can rise to that, the diaphragm can drop down, and it creates a space. Now, one way you can see how that connects to the jaw is if you just open your jaw and breathe in through your mouth and keep opening your jaw, you start doing a yawn. And the more you open your mouth, the more you go into a yawn. So everyone try that. Do a big yawn, open your jaw, and the more you open the door, notice you breathe more deeply until your jaw's really open and it gets right down into your stomach. So it's a big relationship of these muscles coming up to the jaw and breathing in. So in holographic breathing there is that opening of the jaw, but it's contained. But the muscles connecting to the jaw from the top of the ribs, these two sets of muscles here that come up, they're totally connected to the breath, and they're normally just hold to allow the chest to rise up to it and rise down, and also the muscles to the side of the cranium, the spine and the back of the head. Now, what happens in holographic breathing, and to a certain extent in suckling, you can make these at home. You just need some balloons and some string. That's part of a spoon. That's part of a broom. And you just need a skull and you're away, really. So you get the chest is lifting, all the muscles are contracting, it's lifting. And normally this, where it connects to the jaw, just holds. And the jaw stays still. But what happens in holographic breathing, rather than letting the jaw, notice how to start off with you moving the jaw, but at a certain point, did it just feel natural to people? Suddenly it's like, that just kind of happens. Well, what's going on there, if I can manage to do this? Okay, so on the in-breath, the lungs are pulling down, or these are holding as the lungs are rising up. Rather than them holding, they just join in with the breath. Rather than holding, they move with the breath. So on the in-breath, it opens the jaw. And it has to balance, because it's balancing on the spine, it balances front to back. So as you breathe in, the jaw's opening, and it's also opening the occiput at the back of the head. And as you breathe out, it closes. So rather than it holding against the breath, it moves with the breath, and you get this action. Like that. So the reason it feels so natural is that the face and the jaw is just connecting to the chest, to the abdomen, and rather holding against it, it moves with it. And that starts a whole orchestration of the bones, of the energies through the whole face. One, the lips, you notice there's a subtle seal on the lips. So as this opens, the lips don't have to hold to keep the lips together. They just have that little suction between them. So it's like having a sheet there, which stops the jaw going into a yawn, basically. And also the tongue adheres to the roof of the mouth, so that also stops the jaw dropping down a long way. But it's also just natural that these muscles here balance with the muscles below. So rather than the breath stopping there, the jaw, the muscles below the jaw and the muscles above the jaw balance each other, and the jaw just floats between them. So it ends up just floating between. So here where the jaw's joining to the zygomatic arch, in a very gentle way, these just open out to the sides on the in-breath. It's the same as cranial work. Closes on the out-breath. Where you've got the muscles here from the top of the mandible coming up across the temporal bones. This opens the temporal bones on the in-breath, closes the temporal bones on the out-breath, where this is connecting to the zygomatic arch, and this protuberance coming up from the temporal bones. That's like a big lever, and you're pulling down on it. That also assists the temporal bones opening on the in-breath, out-breath. As these pull down on the occiput, you get this lovely opening of the occiput. So as soon as it starts from the jaw, it automatically balances at the back, and it automatically balances in these muscles coming up that are joining to here. I cannot remember names, I'm sorry, but what are these large muscles?
These ones?
Yeah.
Sternomastoid.
Sternomastoid. Sternomastoid muscles, yeah. So these are coming up to here, which are also joining part of the temporal bones, and it's fulcruming around where it's joining to the spine, so it opens up the temporal bones to each side. Then the sphenoid at the front, as this is all pulling down and the maxilla is pulling down, then you get this movement of the sphenoid. And the balance point, sorry, is this knocking you? You're okay. When I teach this quite often, I think with cranial people it's easier because they know all this, but generally when I'm talking to people they just start passing out cold on the floor. So because the spine is balancing here, which isn't the end of the occiput goes further, the back of the occiput is dropping, the front of it is rising, which causes the sphenoid to rock the other way. So you get the same movement in the bones from the breath, from the muscles of the breath, as you do when you're palpating in craniosacral therapy. And what you also get, because this is opening up, now the cranium, the face has got air coming into it, so it's different. It can open in lots of different directions. The cranium is sealed. So as the muscles work in that way, and it opens here and it opens here, and you get this opening, but it can't open in all directions because it's sealed. So top to bottom, you get a shortening. It's like a balloon, and the muscles are pulling it open, but then because it's a sealed thing, top to bottom, it will shorten. So, and this is how a cell breathes. The same thing. This is how the abdomen breathes. It's the same thing. I won't put it on the camera. But the diaphragm, when you breathe in, you don't feel the muscles of the diaphragm tightening. You feel an expansion, but the muscles tightening and the whole diaphragm is dropping down. the quadratus muscles here are shortening. It, along with that, is dropping down and connecting to the pelvis. The psoas muscles are rising up to the spine there as well. So what you get is a bit like a tennis ball. When you squash a tennis ball top to bottom, it comes in this way, and when you breathe from the abdomen, you feel it expanding and you experience the expansion. What's happening from the muscles is that the muscles are working, but you're just not feeling it because it's part of the autonomic nervous system, if that's the right word, or that you don't have to do it. You don't have to do. They happen automatically, but the experience of tightening and shortening is taken out of our experience. We get the experience of everything opens on the in-breath, and when you feel the cellular movement, you feel it opening. But for that opening to happen, there's a shortening in everywhere other than the lungs and the sinuses, because they've got an opening to the outside, so they can open in all directions. So for me, this is one of the things that babies are doing when they're suckling. They're realigning their body, they're realigning their energies with a very similar thing that is happening when we're aligning that with the breath. Now, when a baby is in the womb and it's upside down, and the mother's diaphragm, she's breathing, the diaphragm is dropping. The baby is shortening top to bottom and will be expanding sideways. The volume of the uterus will stay the same. So as it shortens top to bottom, the baby is expanding sideways. So what you have, the whole length of the spine, and this again is something I teach in this breathing, how to experience this, you've got longitudinal muscles. So as we breathe in, even though it's not how we experience it, the whole body and the whole spine is shortening top to bottom, as you feel when you do craniosacral therapy. And as you breathe out, those muscles are relaxing and it lengthens. So the movement that starts happening in holographic breathing is the same movement you palpate in craniosacral therapy. And it's the same thing that is happening to the baby in the womb. As the mother breathes in, its spine, its whole body is shortening, but it will be expanding, because as she breathes in, her abdomen's expanding, so the uterus will be shortening top to bottom, but it will be expanding sideways. So the baby is being taught how to breathe in a physical way, on a cellular level. That's how the cells breathe. Then, as it comes to the contractions, they are a faster breath, slower breath. The contraction, the uterus is contracting top to bottom, but it's going to stay the same volume, the baby's going to stay the same volume. It will expand sideways, and this is how women can have an ecstatic or easy birth, because you feel that in that case, in a contraction, you will feel the contraction. But you enter, the women who use holographic breathing through birth don't feel pain, or very little pain, because rather than being aware of the contraction, they're being aware of the uterus is expanding sideways, the baby is expanding sideways. That becomes an in-breath. Quite often in pregnancy, they breathe out on the contraction, breathe out. I say, no, breathe in, breathe. It's an in-breath. The contraction is an in-breath. But be with the expansion sideways. So the baby's contraction, but on the cellular level, and the whole baby is expanding sideways with that contraction. Then when the baby comes out, it comes onto the nipple, and it's kind of doing a holographic breathing, which is encouraging its whole body to move in the way that you're palpating in craniosacral therapy. So it all ties together, and somehow this breathing is part of that movement, but rather than just as an energy thing or a connected to the high energies, it's connected to the breath. So that Does that make sense to people?
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, that's what goes on there, and that's why it feels so natural. There's a second half to this video, the link is below, and in that we work with the cranial fluid and neural tissue, how to heal that whole area with holographic breathing. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and share it, and if you want to receive all of the videos in this series, if you join my channel, subscribe to my channel, then you'll receive those as they come out. Okay.